already. I am hooked. Friends. I know that I said that I was going to check back in with you. Don't pay attention to my nails. They're a hot mess. I gotta take these off. Quite a twisty, fascinating, interesting. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kathleen and here we talk about all things bookish. And this video is no different, as this is going to be a reading vlog where I will be reading Lisa Jewell's newest release, Don't Let Him In. I have read two other books by Lisa Jewell, the first being The Night She Disappeared, which is one of her backlist releases, and I also read None of This Is True, which I think is a prior release of hers before this current release. And while I didn't really like The Night She Disappeared, it didn't really appeal to me very much. I, however, really enjoyed None of This Is True and thought that it was just a really phenomenal thriller suspense. So I'm really eager to dive back into her work and give her kind of like another try, a third sampling, and see how I like this newest novel, see how I am receptive to the writing style and just how everything comes together. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. So just to kind of share with you the premise and let you know what really stuck out to me and why I wanted to read this. The synopsis says, "He is the perfect man. It's a perfect lie." Nina Swan is intrigued when she receives a condolence card from Nick Radcliffe, an old friend of her late husband, who is looking to connect after her husband's unexpected death. Nick is a man of substance and good taste. He has a smile that could melt the coldest heart and a knack for putting others at ease. But to Nina's adult daughter, Ash, Nick seems too slick, too polished, too good to be true. Without telling her mother, Ash begins digging into Nick's past. What she finds is more than unsettling. Martha is a florist living in a neighboring town with her infant daughter and her devoted husband, Alistair. But lately, Alistair has been traveling more and more frequently for work, disappearing for days at a time. When Martha questions him about his frequent absences, he always has a legitimate explanation. But Martha can't share the feeling that something isn't right. Nina, Martha, and Ash are on a collision course with a shocking truth that is far darker than anyone could have imagined. And all three are about to wish they had heeded the same warning: don't let him in. But the past won't stay buried forever. So for me, with that premise, I feel like it is going to be a lot of different secrets that are going to be revealed. We're going to get a lot about a man that probably is duplicitous. And I don't know, those things really make for a really good suspense or mystery for me. And it sounds like it's going to be a fun time. So I'm going to dive in and start reading. And when I get to about 20 to 30%, I will hop on and give you my initial thoughts and feedback and let you know how I'm experiencing the story and what my thoughts are with it. So I will see you back here in a little bit. Okay, friends. So I am hopping in with a little bit of a check-in for Lisa Jewell's Don't Let Him In. I am approximately about 13 to 15% into this book. And already I am hooked. It's very fascinating. We are getting different POVs. We're getting one from the daughter of Nina, who is Ash. We're getting her point of view. We're getting the point of view of Martha, and we're getting the point of view of this mystery kind of man as well. But let's just go over the kind of overview and synopsis for a second. So in this novel, it opened up with Ash and her family kind of gathering over the passing of their father's death. He died from this accident where there was someone that pushed him onto the train tracks and they lost him suddenly and unexpectedly. And they're kind of navigating that. We are seeing Ash having a hard go of it as she's kind of in this in-between phase in her life, and she ends up kind of moving back home and staying with her mom while she's kind of going through this transitory period in her life, trying to figure out who she is and what her next steps are. So we are seeing that. And what we're also seeing unfold in this particular storyline so far is that they get this letter from this gentleman named Nick Radcliffe, I do believe. Is it Nick? Yeah, Nick Radcliffe, who is saying that he knew that her father, Patty, and that they were together some kind of way, some capacity in the restaurant business because her father, Patty, owned a restaurant, and that they were, you know, close friends, good acquaintances, and he ends up sending a box with a cigarette lighter in it and just like giving it to them for a memento, to help remember him by, and to check in on them to make sure that they're doing okay. But this ends up leading to the mom, Nina, having some kind of relationship with Nick, after she sends a follow-up letter, and they continue with their correspondence, and things kind of escalate into them having a kind of relationship. And Ash doesn't really like it. She kind of feels like it's a little bit too soon. It's only been perhaps, I think, a year, and she's feeling like maybe this isn't, she doesn't really get a good vibe off of this guy. She doesn't clearly know why. She can't put her finger on any specific thing, but just something about him seems off. So that's where we're at in that storyline at this point in time. Now, in the other kind of POVs, like again, we have this mystery man who is obviously a piece of shit, but we have this mystery man kind of recounting how he's manipulating and playing this woman that he's married to. And in another point of view, we have Martha. So Martha is this florist who owns a floral shop, and she is married, and she has a young child, and she has, I do believe, 1 or 2 teenagers. And she is getting frustrated because she feels like her husband, Alistair, is not really present. He is always at work. He's always traveling for work. Oftentimes he's gone for days, weeks at a time. And she's really just becoming frustrated with feeling like a single parent and feeling like she's single, period, and that he's not present and he's not there. However, when Alistair is there, the way that he just love bombs her and just bolsters her kind of self-esteem and makes her feel so great about herself, I feel like she just melts in his hand because of that and forgets all of the bad that is happening in their marriage. But this is really interesting, and I am really hooked. I'm having a fabulous time with this. I already have some theories about kind of what's going on and what's happening, and I can't wait to see if my predictions and my theories are correct, because I see this going a particular way, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that's how things shake up. But I will pop back in when I get at least 50% of the way in this novel and let you know a little bit more about what my thoughts are, what's going on, and just sharing all the non-spoiler goodness for you. Friends. I know that I said that I was going to check back in with you. Don't pay attention to my nails. They're a hot mess. I gotta take these off. But I know I said I was going to jump back in and give you an update at 50%. But I'm jumping in at about, what is it, 23% with an update, because I'm getting 5-star vibes from this, 1. 2, I'm having a fabulous time. So as the events are unfolding, and this is what I'm loving about like Lisa Jewell's writing style in this one, and this I think is something that I find that I really enjoy with mystery thriller authors, is when they don't, I feel like, insult your intelligence. They're not trying to go for this shocking twist, and they're not relying on this novelty of trying to create the most shocking twist or what have you. But instead, they're telling a really solid story, and they are using literary devices to truly create the intrigue and to manipulate your emotions, and also give you the feeling of having a good grip or grasp on what's going on with the story, while in reality, you don't. And this is what is happening so far in this, because like I was mentioning, I think in the earlier clip, like I feel like I have a good idea of what's going on with the story, and you can see it as she's setting it up really clearly in these alternate timelines with these different POVs, and she's giving you very obvious breadcrumbs as to what she's trying to do. But at the end of part 2, there was just this kind of like I don't want to say it's a twist, but there was this reveal that kind of happened, or it's a little bit of a low-key twist. And I was like, whoa, that kind of changes where my mind was going and what I thought was happening, because I thought it was going to go some other kind of way, but something else is happening. And like, what is this? And you got some explaining to do, friend. And I like that. I like that when authors are able to when authors are able to not insult your intelligence and not take it for granted that you are probably going to be able to kind of figure some things out, especially if you are a mystery thriller reader and you read a lot of mystery thrillers. You've seen these tropes, you've seen these storylines, you've seen these kind of things in abundance. So it's going to be hard to kind of like pull the wool over your eyes, and she's not trying to do that, but she's doing it in such a fresh kind of way, and she still has little twists and reveals that you don't really see coming. I like that. And this is reminding me of her last novel that I read, None of This Is True, where you can kind of figure out and see that there's some nonsense happening, but the way that things unfolded, you didn't clock that happening. And it's giving me those vibes, and I'm having a really good time. I'm like 23% of the way in this, but I'm eating this up. And I can't wait to find out what more nonsense goes down in this, because child, we are finding out some things, and we're gonna see all the craziness that happens. But I had to give an update on that because that happened and I was like, whoa. And I like it. The pacing for this, it feels like perfect, because there are reveals and little things that are consistently happening that we're seeing unfold. And I don't know, it makes it feel like the story is progressing a lot faster. And obviously it's not necessarily the shortest mystery thriller, and it's not the longest. I think this is about this is like 357 pages. So it's not exactly the longest thriller, but it's not necessarily the shortest. I guess this is probably an average length for a mystery thriller, but I like how she's handling the pacing, and it's keeping me engaged. It is keeping me like really caught up in this story. Like, I'm intrigued, I am captivated, I am sat. The chapters are short and to the point as we're getting these quick kind of tidbits of the key elements of the story. And I love how she is showing and not telling. I really appreciate that too in mystery thrillers, because that's just to me a mark of a really good writer, the way that you can create and set this setting, this atmosphere, this vibe through scenes, and like letting characters just be who they are and do these things and have these actions. And I'm loving it. It's a good mix of all of that, because we see from certain timelines and from certain POVs, we're seeing where she's doing the showing. She's kind of like letting you in on a little bit of their thought process, even though you know a little bit more than they know, but she's kind of showing what's happening. And then you're getting to see inside the mind or the point of view of a problematic person, and you're getting to understand the machinations of what makes this person tick and kind of understanding what's going on with them. And yeah, I'm liking the setup, I'm liking the plotting, I'm liking the pacing, I'm liking the structure. This is working for me. And yeah, I will jump back in when I get to 50%, or just if I find out something fascinating that happens, I don't want to talk about it, I'll jump back in then. friends, and I am here to wrap up this reading vlog. I have finished Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell, and I gave it 4.5 stars as I really enjoyed this novel. I really enjoyed a lot of the way that it was structured. I enjoyed just what I feel like Lisa Jewell was kind of like speaking to, or what she was saying, and the way that she explored the subject matter and the topics in this novel. And for me, I think the part that really stood out to me, or that what I came away with from reading this novel, is how it feels like Lisa Jewell is trying to really shift our perspective when it comes to answering that age-old question of why women stay in potentially toxic and unhealthy relationships, and speaking to it by giving us a different perspective and a different understanding of a lot of the motivations and the reasons for why women remain in these toxic relationships, and inviting you to see that it's not as cut and dry as we like to think it is, where if a person is treating you poorly, you just leave. But there is a lot of nuance, and there is a lot of layers within these situations, within these relationships, as to why a woman may not be able to easily break away from these toxic partners. And furthermore, a lot of times when it comes to these relationships, they have been in situations where either the person has groomed them into being in this relationship, or the person is very predatory, they're very smart, and they go for people they know that are very gullible, that they can easily manipulate, and that they can easily kind of ingratiate themselves upon. And that it's not just a thing of this person treats you bad, they do something suspicious, and you immediately break away. It's so much more layered than that. There's so many layers of psychological manipulation. There's so many layers of gaslighting, love bombing, all of these things, and just them being the person that you want them to be, and them having a reason, and having, I don't want to say excuse, but them having a reason for everything that has happened, or the things that they do or they don't do. There's typically a reason for it. There's a justification, and it's typically valid, and it makes sense. And it causes you to question, maybe I'm making these things up. Maybe I'm bringing in past relationships and past dealings with other people from bad relationships onto this one because I feel it's too good to be true, making you doubt yourself and question reality around you. So that, I feel like, is what she was really trying to come across and get you to empathize more so with these people in these toxic and unhealthy relationships, instead of just coming with that same statement that we all sometimes say, well, why didn't you just leave? And victim blaming, and kind of putting the onus and the responsibility for the toxic relationship and the cause of these situations onto the victim. And I think she did a brilliant job of exploring that and doing that, and how sometimes in these situations, it takes an outside person. It takes someone who has no dog in the fight, so to speak, a person who is completely objective, to look at the situation and begin to connect the dots and say that this doesn't line up and this doesn't make sense, and there's too many inconsistencies for this to actually be true, and this person actually being a good person. So she did a great job with honing in on that and elaborating and exploring that. I really appreciated the ending. The conclusion to this story was perfect. I loved it. It was everything. Yeah, I feel like for me, Lisa Jewell is quickly becoming one of those authors where I don't necessarily have a good relationship with her backlist and a lot of her older work, but her more recent releases I seem to be having more of a good time with, and I'm really being able to like dig into them and appreciate them and enjoy them a lot more than I did her older work. But yeah, she's quickly becoming an author that I'm interested in seeing what she does in the future, and kind of exploring her works and exploring her writing. So that is all for this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you decide to pick up Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell, let me know what your thoughts are and what your experience reading it was like. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to get more tips on how to go deeper with your reading, maybe some tips on how to diversify your TBR and become a more diverse reader, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter. The link to that will be included in the description bar below. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye.